The forbidden signaling night was quiet. The stars above Earth looked peaceful. But something strange was happening far away in deep space. Lara Jones sat alone in her small space lab. She was a communication expert, working late as usual. She had short brown hair, tired eyes, and a strong curiosity that made her different from others. Her job was to monitor radio signals from space, but tonight, something unusual appeared on her screen. A strange signal was blinking again and again. Beep, beep, beep. She leaned closer. That's not normal, she whispered. The pattern was odd. It was not natural. It felt like a message. She quickly ran the signal through her translator software. The screen flashed and a robotic voice spoke. Softly, help forbidden, Tharos. Lara's heart skipped a beat. She had never heard of Tharos before. She checked the space map. Nothing. No record of any planet called Tharos. Still, the voice repeated, help, forbidden, Tharos. Suddenly, the lights in the lab flickered. Then dashed blackout. Everything shut down. Lara stood in the dark. Only the soft blue glow of her emergency light remained. Her hands shook slightly. She grabbed her flashlight and looked around the lab. Nothing seemed broken, but something didn't feel right. She tried to restart the system, but the power wouldn't return. Then, her phone buzzed. A message popped up from an unknown number. Stop. You are not ready. Her eyes widened. What the hell? She looked outside the window. Far above, the sky, something moved. A tiny, glowing shape floated high above Earth. It was too high to be a plane, too still to be a satellite. It shimmered, then disappeared. Lara's breathing got heavier. She wasn't sure if she was scared or excited. She turned back to her desk and made a copy of the signal on a small hard drive. Whatever it was important. The next day, she went to her supervisor at the Space Communication Center. I found a signal. It's not natural. Something is calling for help. Her boss looked serious. He took the drive, plugged it in, and listened. After a moment, he pressed pause and stared at her. Forget this. Erase everything. What it could be a life form, an intelligent one. He shook his head. Lara, I'm warning you. Some signals are not meant to be heard. You don't know who or what is out there. He walked away, taking the drive with him. But Lara had already made a second copy. She wasn't going to let it go. That night, she returned home and began researching Tharos. Still, nothing, no history, no images, no mention anywhere. It was like the name didn't exist. Around the AM, as she sat at her desk reading, her computer screen flickered again. The signal was back stronger now. A strange symbol appeared on the screen. It looked like a circle with sharp edges, glowing red. Then, a new voice spoke clear and calm. We are watching. Come outside. Lara's eyes widened. Her heart pounded. Against all logic, she stepped outside. The sky was cloudy, but something moved above the clouds, slow and silent. A ship. Dark, large, almost invisible against the night. A soft beam of blue light came down and covered her. She tried to run, but her body froze. The light felt heavy, warm. Then, the ground disappeared beneath her feet. She was being pulled up. Darkness swallowed her. When she opened her eyes, she was no longer on Earth. She lay on a soft white floor, inside a strange room with glowing walls. The air smelled sweet, almost like fresh rain. She sat up, dizzy. Then, she heard footsteps. Someone entered the room. A tall figure with silver skin and bright green eyes stood in front of her. He wore a long robe with the same circle symbol on his chest. He looked at her with calm eyes and spoke in perfect English. My name is Prince Kale. I come from Tharos. Lara tried to speak, but no words came out. Kale smiled gently. You are safe, Lara Jones. But I'm afraid your world is not. He reached out his hand, and the door behind him opened to a view of the stars, millions of them, and a dying red planet far in the distance. The alien Prince asterisk. Lara didn't know if she was dreaming or trapped in a nightmare. The stars outside the window seemed too close, too real. She stood up slowly, still dizzy. Her mind raced. Where was she? How far from Earth? Who was this silver skin alien prince? Prince Kale stood tall and calm, his hands behind his back. His long silver hair shimmered under the soft lights. His green eyes watched her closely, not like a hunter, but like someone guarding a secret. Why am I here? Lara asked, her voice shaking. You followed the signal, Kale said, stepping closer. And that means you were chosen. Chosen for what? Kale looked away, silent for a moment. Then he said quietly, to help save a world that no longer believes in hope. Lara stared at him. Tharos, that's your planet, isn't it? Yes. Kale nodded. A royal world, now broken, poisoned skies, dying oceans. Our people are strong, but our blood is fading. We are losing the ability to create new life. You want help from humans? Lara asked, confused. Why? Kale looked into her eyes. Because you still carry something we lost long ago, the fire of survival. Lara's heart skipped. She felt both proud and scared. But why me? She whispered. Kale stepped even closer now. His voice was lower. Because your DNA answered the signal. Only a rare human could hear it. And you did. Suddenly, the door behind them slid open. A loud voice echoed through the chamber. Kale, this must end. Return now. You shame your blood. Lara turned to see a large screen lighting up the room. A terrifying face appeared older, colder, eyes like ice, crowns of black metal above his forehead. Kale lowered his head. Father, Lara gasped. This was the king of Tharos, King Barren. You bring a human to our sacred vessel. You risked the throne for this creature. The king's voice thundered. She is not a creature, Kale replied. She is the key. Enough, the king roared. If you do not return in 3 cycles, I will come for you and her. The screen went dark. Lara's knees weakened. She dropped onto a bench, trying to understand. Your father wants to kill me? He fears what he doesn't understand, Kale said, and what he fears, he destroys. A long silence followed. Then Kale walked to a wall, placed his hand on it, and a map of the galaxy appeared in glowing light. We are not the first to fall, he said. Before us, other great empires collapsed. They grew cold, proud, and empty. We're next, unless we change. He looked back at her. That's why I need your help. Lara stood up slowly. What do you want from me, Kale? I want to study your biology, your instincts, your will to fight. I believe we can learn from it, maybe even use it to heal Tharos. You want to create a new kind of life, don't you? Lara said, softly, one that's both human and alien. Kale nodded. Yes, a bridge between 2 worlds. A future. Lara felt a strange mix of fear and wonder. She should have been running. But something deep inside her, a strange warmth, told her this was bigger than fear. Bigger than her. I'll help you, she said finally, but not as your subject, as your equal. Kale smiled for the first time. Just then, the ship's lights turned red. Alarms started to ring. A robotic voice spoke. Unidentified vessel. Approaching. Tharos' signature detected. Prepare for contact. Kale's smile faded. He rushed to a console. No, he muttered. They found us too fast. Lara followed him. Who? Barren's shadow ship. A silent killer. No weapons. Just watchers and assassins. Kale turned to her. You need to hide. Now. But before she could move, the ship shook violently. Lights blinked and a crack appeared in one of the walls. A soft hissing sound filled the room. They're inside, Kale said. He sent them to kill you. Maybe me too. Kale pressed a button on his wrist, and a small orb floated out of the wall. It opened and revealed a glowing capsule. Get in. It's an escape pod. I'll fight them off. No, Lara shouted. I'm not leaving you. Kale stepped forward and took her hand gently. You're stronger than you think, but you must survive. Suddenly, the door burst open. The tall shadow-like creatures walked in dark armor. No eyes, sharp hands. Kale turned, raised his arm, and a flash of energy shot out, knocking one creature back. The second one rushed toward Lara, but she grabbed a loose metal rod and struck it across the head. Kale fired again. The room shook. Sparks flew everywhere. Finally, both creatures fell to the ground, smoking and lifeless. Kale fell to his knees, breathing hard. Lara knelt beside him. You're hurt. He smiled weakly. Worth it. Then he whispered, there's something else I need to tell you. Something I didn't plan. Lara waited. Kale looked at her, eyes soft and real. I didn't just choose you for your DNA. I chose you because from the moment I heard your voice, I felt peace. I haven't felt peace in years. Lara touched his face gently. Rest, she said. We'll finish what we started, together. Outside, the stars burned like fire, but inside, something brighter had just begun. The royal bloodline silence after the attack was heavy. Prince Kale lay on the cold floor of his ship's healing chamber, wounded but alive. Lara sat beside him, wiping the blood from his forehead with a soft cloth. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was stronger than ever. They had survived the assassins, for now. I should have sent you back to Earth, Kale whispered, and let you fight alone, Lara said. Not happening. Kale gave her a small smile, but pain still hid. Behind his eyes, his wounds were deep, and even the advanced Tharos tech was struggling to heal him fast enough. The attack had been brutal, ordered by his own father. Lara looked at the shattered door across the room. The alien soldiers had come for her, not Kale. That truth wouldn't leave her mind. He wants me dead, she said quietly. Kale didn't answer. He didn't have to. She already knew. 3 days later, the ship floated near a blue nebula, hiding behind the cosmic dust. Kale was stronger now, walking again, though slower than before. Lara stood in the medical chamber, staring at a screen. Something was wrong. She felt it in her body for days now, waves of nausea, strange dreams, and warmth in her chest that didn't feel like her own. She ran a scan on herself. The results made her legs go weak. She was pregnant. Her eyes stayed fixed on the screen. The heartbeat was fast. The life form inside her was not fully human, but not fully alien either. It was something in between, something new. Kale entered the room and stopped when he saw the screen. He stared. Then he looked at her, and for a long time, neither of them spoke. Finally, Kale whispered, "It's not possible." Lara's voice cracked. "It's real." Kale stepped forward, placing his hand gently on her stomach. His fingers trembled. "This child, they carry both our worlds." A long silence passed. Then he added, "My father will see them as a threat." Lara nodded slowly. "He won't stop until we're both dead, all three of us." Meanwhile, on Therskin, Buren stood alone in his black chamber. He watched the sky through a tall window made of obsidian glass. His advisor entered and bowed low. "My king," the advisor said, "the prince has survived the attack. The human is still with him. And the child?" Buren asked coldly. The advisor looked down. "It has begun." Buren turned, his face carved from stone. "Then we must act. That creature growing inside her, it is no air. It is a virus. One that could infect our bloodline, change our future, twist our past. But, sire," the advisor said softly, "the child could also be a solution." The prophecy, Buren raised a hand. "No more prophecy talk." He stepped forward, eyes burning with anger. "I will not let my throne be stolen by a half-blood hybrid, not while I breathe." Back on the ship, Kale sat in the quiet control room, watching old memories of Tharos' green skies, silver towers, and peaceful oceans. That Tharos no longer existed. His people had grown cold, losing emotion, losing the ability to create life. Now, Lara carried something that could change that. But change came with danger. Lara walked in slowly. Her face was pale, her steps unsure. "There's something else," she said. "The baby. It's growing fast." "Too fast?" Kale turned sharply. "How fast?" "It's already the size of a 3-month fetus." "It's only been days." Kale stood, walking to her. "That's Tharos' DNA. It's accelerating. I can't go back to Earth like this," she said. He shook his head. "Earth wouldn't understand. They'd try to take the child from you. Study it. Lock it away." Lara touched her stomach. She already felt the connection, like a soft hum under her skin. "I won't let anyone hurt them," she said. Kale looked at her with admiration and fear. Later that night, Lara woke to a strange sound. The baby was moving, not just kicking, but responding. She sat up and felt a light pressure in her mind. A voice died. It wasn't loud. It wasn't clear, but it was there. "Mother," she gasped. "Kale." He rushed in, and she grabbed his arm. "The baby." They spoke to me, in my head. Kale looked both stunned and amazed. Telepathic communication. That's unheard of at this stage. Lara held her stomach, eyes wide. They're not just growing. They're awake. Suddenly, alarms blared. Kale rushed to the main screen. A large object approached fast. "No," he muttered. "It's not my father this time. It's Earth." A human military ship appeared outside the window. They had tracked Lara's signal. A voice came through. "Dr. Lara Jones, we know you are aboard the alien vessel. You are ordered to surrender and return immediately." Lara looked at Kale. "They want the baby. They want to control what they don't understand." Kale replied. Lara's hands clenched into fists. "Then let's make them understand." As the Earth ship began charging its weapons, Kale raised a shield over their vessel. But something strange happened. The baby still inside Lara sent out a pulse of light, and all power on both ships shut down for 1 minute. Total silence. Stars. Above, a heartbeat below. The message was clear. This child would not be hunted. This child had already chosen to fight. The wrath of the King Aster's space was silent again, but only for a moment. Lara stood in the middle of the control room, breathing fast. The pulse from her unborn child had shut down to ship's one alien, one human. No weapon, no machine, no code, just the raw, unexplained power of a being that had not even taken its first breath. Kale stood beside her, eyes wide. That wasn't just a warning, he whispered. That was a message. Lara placed her hand on her stomach. The baby was protecting us. Outside, the human ship powered back on. Confused and scared, it turned away slowly, drifting back toward Earth. They had seen enough, but someone else had also seen the pulse, someone far more dangerous. On Tharaskin, Buren stood before a circle of Tharos, generals, his fist clenched tight. The air in the chamber was heavy, full of fire and cold anger. Holograms floated in the air, images of the pulse, the power wave that crossed half a star system. Proof, Buren growled. The hybrid is not a child. It is a weapon. A younger general hesitated. But my king, if this power can be controlled, Buren snapped. It will never obey us. It was created in defiance. It is born from rebellion, and rebellion must burn. He turned toward the war table. Prepare the fleet. No more shadows. No more whispers. We strike now. The generals bowed. For the throne, they said in unison. Kel's ship. 2 days later, Lara woke up in a panic. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. She had seen it again, the red planet in flames. The voice of the king echoing in her dreams. Kale sat beside her, holding the steaming cup. You felt it too? He asked. She nodded. He's coming. Yes, and not alone. Kale walked to the control panel. A hologram showed dozens of ships moving from Tharos. Warships, bombers, trackers. They'll reach us in 3 days. Lara stood, still pale. Then we run. Kale turned to her, his face harder than before. No, we hide. There's a place. An old moon base abandoned since the Civil Wars. Not even my father's scanners can find it. He zoomed the map and pointed. Moon LX9. Cold, empty, but safe. Lara nodded. Then we go now. Kale opened a command line. The ship changed direction, but the stars behind them were already catching fire. En route to Moon LX9, Lara's condition was changing quickly. Her stomach now showed a clear curve. The baby was growing not in months, but in days. She felt strong and weak at the same time. Her emotions were intense, sharp flashes of fear, love, and strange calmness. Sometimes she felt the baby dreaming. Other times she felt it watching. Kale noticed the change too. He stayed near her always, reading old texts, ancient prophecies, desperate to understand what this child could become. There was a time, he said one night, when Tharos believed in balance, light and dark, logic and feeling. But the royal blood became too cold, too proud. We stopped listening to the stars. Maybe this child is the stars answering back. Lara smiled slightly. Or the stars warning us. Moon LX9, safe haven or trap. The ship landed on a frozen plain, silent in silver under a dying sun. The base was still intact barely, metal walls covered in dust and silence. Machines, long dead. No sign of life. They moved inside. Kale locked down the entrances. Lara set up medical equipment. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. For the first time in weeks, she lay down and felt peace. Until the whispers came. The night of shadows, Lara's eyes flew open. She was not dreaming. The baby was sending her something, images, feelings. Fear. She stood up and walked slowly through the dim halls of the moon base. Cold metal beneath her feet, lights flickering. Kale had gone to check the perimeter. She was alone. Then she heard it. A soft sound, a footstep. She turned fast and saw nothing. But the fear was real. It filled her lungs like smoke. Suddenly, a shape moved behind her, fast and quiet. A blade flashed. She screamed. Kale appeared, blasting the attacker with a sonic wave. The creature hit the wall hard, metal clanging. Another one came from the ceiling. Kale fought brutally, no hesitation now. He was no longer just a prince. He was a protector, a father. When the fight ended, 3 assassins lay dead. They found us. Lara whispered, shaking. Kale stood still, covered in dust and blood. He's getting closer. The final message from the king that night. A transmission came through. The screen lit up. King Viren's face filled the room. You hide behind dead walls and false hope, he said calmly. But I am coming, not just for the child, not just for the traitor prince. I am coming to end the infection before it spreads. Kale stepped forward. You fear what you don't understand. I fear nothing, Viren replied. But I remember. I remember what happened the last time we mixed blood with outsiders. Civil war, collapse. We almost lost everything. He pointed toward Lara. She carries the next fall of Tharos. I will not allow it. The screen went black. Lara turned to Kale. We have no choice anymore. No, he said. Now we fight. The child awakens that night. Lara screamed. Kale rushed to her side, but something was different. The baby was not just growing, it was coming, and it was not coming like a normal child. The lights around them began to float. Gravity shifted. Machines turned on by themselves. Lara's skin glowed fate blue. Kale held her hand tightly. Then silence. A small cry echoed in the room. The child was born. But when Kale looked into the baby's eyes, they were not human. Not alien. They were something new, something ancient, something powerful. And in Lara's mind, the child spoke clearly for the first time. He cannot stop me. I have already begun. The heir must die. The child was born under a silent sky. There were no cries at first, only a strange hum. A soft, rising sound that vibrated through the cold walls of Moon Base LX-9. The air thickened, and gravity bent like fabric. Kale held the child gently in his arms. The baby's skin shimmered, as if light lived inside it. Tiny fingers wrapped around his strong, aware. The child's eyes opened, and for a long moment, the room froze. One eye was emerald green like Kale's, the other stormy gray just like Lara's. And behind those eyes, something far older was looking out. Lara lay weak, but alive, watching. Silently, her body ached, but her soul was filled with a strange peace. What do we call him? She whispered. Kale looked down at the child. Zar, he said. It means dawn, in my language. Zar, more than a child. In just hours, Zar began to change. He learned faster than any known being. By sunrise, he could sit up. By noon, he was speaking not with words, but through thoughts. His voice in Lara's mind was soft, curious, warm, but to calm for a newborn. Where's the danger? He asked. Why do they fear me? Kale watched him, heart torn between pride and fear. Or could move objects without touching them. He could read minds. He even repaired a broken console by simply staring at it. He's not a weapon, Lara said. He's life pure and new. But Kale was not so sure anymore. Something deep in his Tharos blood warned him. Power like this does not go unnoticed. On Tharos, the Death Order, King Viren stood before the Great Circle, the Council of 12. Ancient minds. He slammed his fist onto the table. The hybrid has been born, he declared, and it is already corrupting the balance. One of the elders spoke softly, but the prophecy spoke of a being that would unite the dying and the living. Prophecies, Viren hissed, are for the weak. Ideal in fact. This thing, this Zar, is not unity. It is mutation. Another voice rose. And what if you are wrong? Viren turned, eyes burning. Then I die. But before that, I burn the child. He raised his hand. A black cube floated into the air cold, humming. The Reaper Protocol. He said, we drop it on Moon LX-9 in 3 days. It will wipe out every molecule of life in a 1,000-mile radius. A long silence followed. The order was final. Moon LX-9 had calmed before the storm. Lara stood outside the base with Zar beside her. He was now the size of a 5-year-old, though only 3 days old. His hair had turned silver like Kale's. His presence was unearthly, peaceful, and yet the ground under his feet sometimes pulsed. With light, he held her hand and stared at the stars. Is he coming? He asked. Lara didn't answer. She didn't need to. Zar already knew. Kale joined them. We need to leave. If the Reaper cube hits this moon, we're dead. But where will we go? Lara asked. Kale paused. There is one place left. A living planet. Neutral. Sacred. Even my father won't risk war there. It's called Alarian. He looked at Zar. But they will fear him. They fear what they don't understand. Zar said softly, just like he does. Lara turned to Kale. We have to try. The betrayal inside the base. A signal blinked red. Kale walked over and opened the screen. It was an old contact general. Meccan, a friend from Kale's childhood. a once trusted commander, Kale, the general said. I had to warn you. The king activated the Reaper protocol. Kale's eyes narrowed. How long? 3 days. But listen, there's something worse. Kale waited. Your father didn't just send the Reaper cube. He sent the Wraithburn. Kale froze. Lara looked at him. What are Wraithburn? Kale turned slowly. Not soldiers, not machines. They are hunters, creatures grown in the dark parts of Tharos. They don't kill for orders. They kill for joy. Zar looked up. Let them come. No. Lara said, pulling him close. We run. The first death before they could escape. The attack came. A hole exploded through the wall. Dust and metal flew into the air. The Wraithburn entered black, armored, soulless. One grabbed Kale, slamming him into the wall. The other rushed for Zar, but Zar did not move. Instead, his eyes lit up both of them. A pulse of energy threw the Wraithburn across the room. Kale got up, grabbed Lara, and yelled, Get to the escape pod. They ran, but Zar stayed behind. The remaining Wraithburn crawled toward him, hissing. Zar looked at it, head tilted. I am not yours to break, and with a blink of light, the creature burned to ash. The air turned slowly, face calm. Let's go, he said. More are coming. Escape into the stars. To escape pod launched just as the moon began to shake. The Reaper cube had entered orbit. From space, Kale, Lara, and Zar watched the base vanish into light. A cloud of blue fire swallowed it whole. Everything was gone. Zar placed a hand on the window. He really wants me gone, Lara whispered, because he knows you are the future. The voice of the king back on Tharos. King Barren smiled as the moon vanished from the galactic map. But then the smile faded. A new signal appeared, a voice, young and clear. You failed. Barren stood up. The voice continued. You tried to erase me, but I am already part of your world, of your son, of your future. You cannot kill me, because I was born from the very fear you created. Barren roared and smashed the console, but deep inside, for the first time in many years, the king felt something he did not expect, fear. Exile of the royal blood stars rushed past the small escape pod like rivers of fire. Lara held Zar close, her heart pounding not from fear, but from the silence around them, a silence that had followed them ever since Moon Base LX9 was erased. Her hands trembled. Her home, her work, her life on Earth, it was all gone now, but in her arms, she held the reason she didn't care. Za or slept peacefully, curled against her chest. His skin shimmered faintly in the dark. His heartbeat echoed with strange harmony, like a second rhythm hidden inside her own. Kale sat in the pilot's seat, staring ahead into deep space. His once royal armor was torn. His face held a quiet fury, not for what had happened, but for what would come next. We can't run forever, Lara whispered. I know, Kale replied, but we're not running. We're going to Sanctuary. Planet Alarian, the last neutral world few even remembered. Alarian. It didn't appear on star charts anymore. It existed between dimensions, hidden by ancient energy. Only those with royal Tharos blood could reach it. The escape pod passed through a shimmer in space like a curtain of light. On the other side, a strange world waited. Ion was not just alive, it was awake. Vast forests stretched into the sky. Giant crystal. Mountains hummed with sound. Rivers glowed blue, and the clouds above were gold and slow-moving. The ship landed on a soft plateau surrounded by glowing trees. Birds of light flew overhead. The planet breathed with peace. Lara stepped out, holding Zar's hand. This place, it's beautiful, she said. Kale looked around, troubled. It's more than beautiful. It's sacred, and it has rules. The watchers of Alarion before they could move far. Figures appeared from the trees, tall beings with pale skin, long robes, and no eyes. Yet they saw everything. One stepped forward. Kale, child of Tharos, you are unwelcome. Kale bowed. We come in peace, in exile. Another watcher spoke, voice echoing like wind. You bring the hybrid, the heir. Zar stepped forward, though he looked like a 6-year-old now. His posture was calm and royal. I am not here to rule, Zar said. I am here to learn. The watchers looked at each other, then back at Kale. You have 3 days. The lead watcher said, the child may stay, but if his power touches the sky, we will send him away, forever. Kale nodded. They were allowed to stay for now. The temple of reflection in the heart of Alarion stood, a forgotten temple carved into a silver mountain. It was ancient, even by Tharos standards. The place held knowledge not written in books, but in memory, sound, and light. Kale brought Zar here every day. Zar was learning control, focus, silence, but strange things began to happen. He would speak a word, and nearby flowers would bloom instantly. He would close his eyes, and winds would shift across the horizon. One night, he floated above the ground in his sleep. Lara's vision while Kale trained Zar. Lara walked deep into the glowing forest. She needed space, time to think. She still didn't know what she had become a mother. Yes, but also something else. As she passed under a crystal arch, she saw a figure waiting. It was a woman, glowing faintly, with silver eyes and hair like mist. "Who are you?" Lara asked. "I am a shade," the woman said, "a memory of a future not yet written." "What do you want?" "Not what I want, what you will want," she said, looking toward the temple. "Zar," the shade nodded. "He will choose soon, to heal the galaxy or to break it." Lara stepped back, afraid. "He's just a child." The shade smiled sadly. "No, he never was." The arrival of the hunter in the second night. A tremor shook the air. Kale rushed outside. The sky, usually calm, flickered with red lightning. "They found us," he said. A single ship pierced the sky like a black arrow. It did not carry Tharos symbols. It belonged to someone worse. The hunter. Kale froze. "My father sent the last tool he has. A being that kills without name, without question." The Watchers appeared again. "You brought war to a peaceful world. Leave." Now, Lara stood by Kale's side. "If we leave, he'll follow. There's nowhere left." "No," Zar said softly. "I will go." Lara turned, shocked. "What?" "I will speak to him," Zar said. "Alone." Kale stepped forward. "You're still a child." "I am not a child," Zar replied, eyes glowing slightly. "I am the result of everything both your people ran from. Let me face what I was born to face, the confrontation." The hill outside the temple. Zar stood alone. The hunter descended 7 feet tall, covered in black armor, no eyes, no mouth, just energy and rage. "You are to be destroyed," it said. Dazier didn't blink. "Then try." The hunter rushed at him fast as thought. Dazier raised one hand. The world slowed. Trees bent away. Air cracked with pressure. The sun dimmed. Zar's voice was soft. "I do not wish to hurt you." The hunter screamed, its body shaking. Zar stepped forward. Dan touched its chest. For one moment, the hunter remembered something. A name, a home, a feeling of love. Then it dropped to its knees and vanished into light. Final moments. A new threat rises that night. As peace returned, Kale and Lara sat with Zar at the temple steps. "You've changed," Kale said. Dazier nodded. "I'm changing. Every second." "What will you become?" Lara asked softly. Dazier looked at the stars. "I don't know yet, but someone else does." Kale frowned. "Who?" Zar pointed upward. "A new king, far away." In the dark chambers of Tharos, King Vuren stood before a strange device, a machine not even his scientists understood fully. He was no longer afraid. He had made a choice. "If my blood cannot rule the stars, then let fire do it instead." He pressed a switch, and from deep inside the core of Tharos, something awoke. It was not a ship, not a weapon. It was a creature sealed for thousands of years, the World Eater, and its eyes opened wide. Rise of the hybrid. The stars had gone quiet, not from peace, from fear. Across systems, signals fell silent. Entire fleets vanished without a trace. The core of Tharos had cracked open, and from it, something ancient, buried, and furious had risen. The creature was not a myth. It was real, and it had a name whispered in the void by dying empires. Vexor, the World Eater. Tharos, a throne of Asheskin Vuren, stood before the creature, his crown burning at the edges. He had summoned Vexor with forbidden energy, black matter drawn from collapsed stars. The ritual had cost thousands of lives. "I created Zar," he whispered, "but I will unmake him." The monster roared. It had no language, no reason, just endless hunger. Its purpose, devour hybrid life. Alarian, the calm before the final storms, stood on the temple balcony, silent, his silver robe floating in the gentle air. He had aged again. Now he looked like a teen, maybe 15, but there was no doubt. He was more than human and far beyond alien. Lara and Kale stood behind him, both weary, both changed. Exile had stripped their titles and comforts, but given them something stronger. Family. Kale placed a hand on Zar's shoulder. "My father is coming, but he's not the danger anymore." Zar nodded. He is just. The key, the real door has opened. A watcher approached. The being has entered the system. It is beyond anything Ilarian can resist. You must leave. Zar looked up. No, I stay. The final choice of that night, Zar sat with Lara by the Silver River. Do you fear me now? He asked her. No, she whispered, brushing back his hair. You were born from love. That will always matter more than power. But if I destroy to protect, what am I? She thought for a long moment. Sometimes, to protect life, you must touch darkness. Just don't let it touch you. Zar closed his eyes. I remember. The war against sky turned red. Ilarian sun dimmed as Vexor approached. It did not fly. It drifted like a dead god crawling across galaxies. Its body was like moving stone planets orbiting its limbs, debris swirling like a cloak. Kells. Old royal instincts kicked in. Lara, take the escape shuttle. Go now. She refused. We stayed together. No matter what. The Watchers gathered. But even they began to vanish, dissolving into the wind. Their ancient pact unable to contain what was coming. Then Vuren's flagship arrived in orbit, hovering like a wound in the sky. Kel's father spoke one final message across the planet's surface. Let the hybrid face the truth. You made him a god. Let's see if he can bleed. Zaracentra walked into the forest one last time. He stood where the planet hummed strongest, where roots met light, where time bent. He kneeled and called the ancients. Voices answered not from space, but from the past, fragments of species long gone, echoes of forgotten minds, all those who had touched both war and peace, destruction and rebirth. They filled Zar's mind. They did not give him power. They reminded him who he was. His body lifted into the air. Light circled him. His voice rang across the system not as sound, but as a wave of meaning. I was born to end a bloodline, but I choose to begin one. The final battle Vexor struck. Its shadow fell across Ilarian, and the planet cracked at the edges. Kale fired ancient Tharos cannons useless. Lara and other survivors ran to the deep caverns. Zar rose higher and waited. Vexor opened its mouth, galaxies spinning within, and launched a beam of pure void energy toward the surface. Za are caught. It died with one hand. The ground shook. Sky split. But the boy the being did not fall. He stepped forward and pushed back for the first time. Vexor screamed, and then Zar entered it. He became light, memory, a wave of fire and water and sound. Inside the creature, Zar saw everything, its hunger, its curse, its long pain, and he did not destroy it. He healed it with the memory of a mother's touch, with the voice of a prince who chose love over crown. The silence after Vexor was gone, vanished, not destroyed but freed. The stars were quiet again. King Vuren's ship drifted, powerless. He stood alone, staring into space where the creature had been. And then Zar appeared before him, floating, glowing, quiet. Kill me, Vuren whispered. Zar looked at him. You already did, when you forgot how to care. He didn't raise his hand. He just turned and left. Vuren collapsed to his knees, his empire gone. Epilogue. The hybrid era begins. Years passed. Not many, but enough. Za are no longer aged. He became a symbol across galaxies, a bridge between species, a living reminder that blood and fear do not define destiny, but choice does. Kale and Lara returned to Earth, welcomed as heroes, and feared by some. Their love became legend, their child, myth, but somewhere in the stars, a small beacon blinked. Za had left a message for any child on any world who felt different. You are not alone. You are not wrong. You are the next chapter. And far away, a girl on a broken planet heard that signal. She smiled and looked up at the stars. The end.